Our ethnic studies department started because the students and their parents wanted it. So it was something that they actually fought for. It wasn't part of any kind of national curriculum. There was no national mandates to say that you needed to learn the history of any other people in this country aside from, quote unquote Americans, right? And that idea is very Eurocentric.
I think that a lot of reasons that people they don't offer these classes is because they don't have the staff to do it. They don't have the knowledge to put it into place in a high school, because it's typically a class that you take in college, and therefore it's not one of the core standard classes that one would take. And so it takes a lot of work for people. There has to be a demand for it, and because of that, I think people are afraid of what ethnic studies can do sometimes, or the empowerment that it can give kids, that some people are afraid of it.
It's a subject where it's not, in my opinion, not really understood how it impacts high school studies, in terms of the traditional U.S. history, social science, elective areas, because those areas are already kind of covered. But the awareness of ethnic studies gives out is more particular to in the areas of culture and understanding culture and its impact on yourself as a person as well as the communities. And that's not always thought of in a high school setting, more like a college setting.
Ethnic studies is basically about their ethnicity and their culture, right? Depending on which ethnic studies class you take, you can be very specific as to your ethnic background. At this school we have the African American history and heritage classes. We have the Mexican American history and the issues classes. We have Asian American studies, and then we have the Filipino heritage studies. So there's a whole gamut of different ethnicities that students can kind of study and take a look at. And if they don't fall into those specific ethnicities or quote unquote racial groups, as a lot of the institutions like to call them, then they can find the similarities, right? They can look at the experiences of those different ethnic groups and say, hey, my parents, my grandparents, my community has gone through those same things, and they can see themselves in that history, as opposed to a regular, social science or U.S. history course, or even a world history course. You don't necessarily focus on the people themselves. You focus on the larger dynamic of the culture, and you look at the institutions.
Hi, my name is Marisa Villegas Ramirez, and I am new to Logan. I'm the Raza Studies teacher, part of the Ethnic Studies department here at Logan. Latinx, or Raza Studies, is the study of issues that impact our communities and how these issues are tied to our histories and cultures as Chicanos and Latinos, or Raza here in the United States. We will examine issues dealing with borders and migration, racism and sexism, stereotypes, our experiences with systems such as the legal, prison, and education systems, the impacts of oppression on our communities, and how we have responded to these injustices at different times and places throughout the history of the United States. We'll use different forms of literature, poetry, film and media, and cultural artifacts to connect our heritage and build cultural pride as we consider how to respond to social pressures that can either negatively or positively impact our gente. I was raised with a strong sense of who I am and what my connection is to the land and my ancestors. The Chicano movement grounded me in my indigeneity and offered me a roadmap to better know myself and my community. That is what I wish for all of the students I teach. I've been teaching Raza Studies for 25 plus years, first in Oakland Unified School District and now here at Logan. I sometimes feel that our Raza students are not in touch with the legacy and history of their ancestors, and I hope to be the link that provides them with that knowledge that can help to ground them and set them up for success in this society. Honestly, I believe that every student at Logan and at all schools in this nation should be exposed to Raza Studies courses, as well as other ethnic studies courses that are offered here at Logan and in more and more schools across the country. This course will allow you to reflect on who you are and what you want out of life. It also will give those outside the Raza community a chance to learn about another culture and demystify who we are as people who deserve respect and positive representation in this diverse society. My podcast is called Teach the Children the Truth, Ethnic Studies and Raza Studies in the TK-12 classroom. And the goal of my podcast is really to uplift the stories of ethnic studies educators and also of young scholars, of students that are taking ethnic studies courses, so that they can share what it's like to either be an ethnic studies educator or to be an ethnic studies student. I'm on Apple, Amazon, Google, and Spotify, and it's called Teach the Children the Truth. I encourage you all to sign up for one of my courses as an elective during your 4 years here at Logan.
I honestly just can't express how grateful I am for ESSJ. Like, I've learned so much in this class, and like so much of it has been relevant to like just everything in my life. And in general, the way ESSJ is run, it's such a humanizing education, like on both the curriculum side and like all it stands for, and how it actually is executed when it's like taught to us. And that's not only refreshing, but it's just it's so nice to see, and it really inspires me, because like it inspired me to like go into like all this education reform stuff. Like I'm super passionate about that now, alongside with like just social justice in general. But the education reform aspect is like the area I'm like most invested in. Like I even tried to start an organization centered around it, but I really think it's because of ESSJ, and also because like of my experience in ethnic studies freshman year. Like that class also like left such a strong impression on me, and I'm so glad that I decided to take ESSJ. It's just so inspiring, and like we learn so many things, right? Like I look to ESSJ as like the prime example of like what a rightful education looks like, and it inspires me so much, especially since like I'm trying to recreate, in a sense, like this education experience, because it's so powerful and it resonates with me so much that I want to share it with like as many other people as possible. And it's just left such a strong impact on my life, and I'm not really sure how to describe it. And I'm really excited to like take ESSJ in person, because I can't even imagine how much more powerful it will be in person, when we have like that in-person connection. So yeah, I'm really excited for next year, and I'm just so grateful to be in ESSJ. Like I don't know how else to like state it. Like, and even the fact that it was so humanizing, like I felt such a clear difference. Like my mental health has definitely struggled throughout this year because of the pandemic, and I felt like ESSJ was the only like real place that really actively acknowledged that, and not only acknowledged it, but you know, like tried to do something about it.
Me like loving my Filipino roots goes way back to around middle school, and there wasn't really any way for me to express that in middle school because that wasn't really a thing where I went. And then my freshman year, once I got here, I heard of FYA, and I was part of that club from beginning to maybe, I want to say 3/4 of the year. And then right after that, my like Filipino roots kind of went away.
Recently moving from Philippines, my experiences in this class has been ironically eye-opening in regards to knowing who I am as a Filipina. Katong napa ko sa Pilipinas, daghan kay kog wala nabawaan sa unsa among gipang-agi sa mga Pinoy, labi na sa mga tuig na ginasakop pa ang Pilipinas sa mga lain na nasud. Rather than feeling like this class is like any other history class, it feels like every day is a revolution of the mind. Not because we're being taught about the revolution or the battles that the Filipinos had to go through, but because it challenges us and provokes us, especially us Filipinos, to rethink what we were taught as the truth, especially in our education system in the Philippines.
In FHS, Santos actually encourages us to work together on assignments, which makes it easier for things to get done. And so basically in the class, if you work together, it's easier to pass than working alone.
It was my junior year when I started learning about FHS and learning about Santos and learning about how I could do way more with being Filipino and like my roots and how much I love my roots. And my friend Clifford, also alumni, he's the one that he tabled at this one event, I think Club Fair, and he's the one that let me know that FHS was a thing and that I could take it. So I signed up for it, and then my senior year, first day of senior year, I came to that class with a skateboard. I was just like laid back. I didn't really think much of the class. I thought it was gonna be a regular, like just a regular class. And then Santos was talking about this stuff, how he kind of plants his perspective of why Like, he asked us the question, why should we trust him when we didn't even know him? And we said that, oh, it's because he's a teacher. And throughout his class, he taught us that, he basically taught us how being Filipino and being different isn't wrong, and that there's nothing wrong with accepting who you are. Because before senior year, I was really someone else. I didn't really think of myself as Filipino as much as I do now. But because of FHS, where I am now, I'm thankful for FHS, because without that, I wouldn't be in the organization I'm in now, D1 Kabataan. And I feel like FHS has done so much more for me than just teach me about my culture. It taught me how to love my culture more. It taught me how to accept myself for who I am. And I feel like if FHS wasn't a thing, or if I didn't take it, I wouldn't be who I am now.
My experience so far in FHS has really opened up my mind on how society is and how we work as people, and how we have our own beliefs, and how we're all so different from one another. When we're in reality, we're all just the same people, we're all human beings. And it's just like all those teachings that Santos has taught me and everybody else in that class is that, like, we should be able to express how we feel and how our culture is, regardless of who we are. We should, like, embrace who we are as ourselves instead of feeling like we're inferior to one another and being inferior to the white man. Without his, like, class, I really, like, my view on the world wouldn't be the same. I'd been, like, so ignorant to everything. I'd been, like, keeping my ignorant thoughts, but then just taking his class has just really opened up my mind. Everything he's done for us as bringing us together and trying to form us as a group, even though he didn't technically tell us to, it just showed me how, like, we should be united with each other and how, like, unity does help the community together. It just really opened my mind that, like, his teachings really do, like, come to real life, and, like, you can really do and, like, just do anything. Every individual has a voice to express how they feel.
Our ethnic studies department started because the students and their parents wanted it. So it was something that they actually fought for.
It's a sacred space, a place of solidarity, self-empowerment, and self-love.
Equity,
Truth.
Exploring identity, social justice, and current events.
transformative,
Diversity and inclusion.
Love.
race,
Decolonize.
Bringing forward the narratives of people of color.
How to be responsive to the world around them critically, and empowerment through social justice advocated curriculum.
Educate and advocate.
And pride.
I believe it's important for young people to find out the history of their families, find out the history of their people. And if we look at our current situation, if we focus on what's really going on, that we as a community, we as people can come together and make the change ourselves.
I am ethnic studies.
I am ethnic studies.
I am ethnic
I'm ethnic studies.
I am 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 ethnic studies.
ESSJ to me, in one word, is empowering.
It's passionate.
It's diverse.
It's resilient.
It's fun.
It's understanding.
Determination.
Discovery.
ESSJ to me, in one word, is a community.
ESSJ functions as a small learning community here at James Logan High School. Our original mission and vision was to provide students an opportunity to have an education that is holistically humanizing and creating a community space for themselves to actually be very comfortable being their authentic selves.
So far, I would have to say it's been a very positive experience. I love the teachers and I love the classroom environment. We all love each other. We're like one big community. And it's not just within the classroom too. It has to be within all of ESSJ.
I want students in the academy or
future students in the academy to know that this program and this academy is all about them. I feel like students who have a sense of justice and a sense of desire and agency to want to do something for not just their community but around themselves in the world best fit this academy. I feel like students who maybe not even know they want to do something in that route of social justice, but want to learn more about themselves and gain an education where they get to learn from their perspective and their ancestors and culture. I feel like ESSJ and the Academy is perfect for them.
The Ethnic Studies and Social Justice Academy is a 3-year small school program located within Logan High School. The program focuses on 3 major concepts integral to ethnic studies and social justice. Sophomores learn the foundations of identity, common struggles, system of oppression, social construction of race, class, and gender. Juniors build on their previous year, learning the basics of activism and organizing, movement building, and campaign development. Seniors are required to conduct an independent research action project on an issue of their choice.
To be who they are unapologetically and bring their perspectives, their experiences, and even the history of their ancestors into the space.
ESSJ sophomores, their whole year is all about building community. For them, it's all about exploring who they are, how they navigate the world, and really understanding themselves as an intersectional being. Right from exploring their culture to their ancestors, to who they are of their own race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, class, and so forth. Right, students are really diving in who they are as well as building solidarity with one another.
ESSJ is a 3-year course, and you learn a lot about social issues that's going on within our community and within the world.
The part about being in ESSJ is I like how diverse it is, and it's not like the typical plain black and white textbook.
ESSJ seeks to educate our scholars within a holistically humanizing space that centers voices of the young scholars in the classroom, as well as the voices of BIPOC communities, their ancestors, allies, and co-conspirators, in order to develop a critical consciousness lens during their educational experience. ESSJ scholars learn about themselves and learn from peers while gaining new knowledge about struggles in different communities.
ESSJ to learn other cultures and educate myself.
ESSJ, I definitely think it helps me figure out who I am as a person and understand the history and the background of my family, because I don't know much about my family, and it made me ask the questions that I never thought I would ask.
I think you should join because honestly, like, you really do find a community. Like, you will learn things that you really didn't know, and you just find a family.
ESSJ is designed for students who want to realize their potential as agents of positive and transformative social, emotional, cultural, economical, and political change in themselves, their communities, and the larger local, national, and global context they live in. Please consider applying for ESSJ next year.